Hey, what's up YouTube? Figured this would be a nice little video here since we're all kind of stuck inside with all the recent events going on. And I got so much positive feedback about my last video. Right now we're at the Alpine Village Park and Ride, which is located on Golden Mile Highway, Route 286, which is the Alpine Village Park and Ride. And figured it'd be a nice little video just to give everybody that may be stuck at home or people that are no longer in the area that used to live or grew up in Alpine Village might find this video to be interesting. So this is heading, I guess you would say, westbound on Route 286 here, Golden Mile Highway. We're going to be making a left onto Alpine Village Drive here momentarily, which crosses over William Penn Highway, Route 22 in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. As you can see in the very top left-hand corner of your screen, that's the Speedway, which was formerly the Sunoco station. Before that, it was an empty field with some pine trees and a little bit of a hill there. What they did originally, what it was it, I believe, and somebody can correct me in the comments on this, was the original Alpine restaurant for Alpine Village. And at some point in time, I believe it was called Ichabod, or Ichabob's, which from what I understand was like a seafood restaurant. I believe my Uncle Matt had worked there, and I know my Aunt Jessie had worked there. They had grown up on Abers Creek Road in Monroeville, which is literally to our right. You can't see it outside of the frame of view of the camera, but she was a waitress there, maybe the late 60s, early 70s maybe. Once again, family members can chime in on that. I don't know the history 100% on that. But this is the entrance to Alpine Village. And this is one of those famous red lights in Monroeville where nobody quite comprehends how it works. But everybody did good there. So we're entering into Alpine Village. See if we can give you a little bit of a tilt there so you can see a little better. This is Alpine Village Drive. We're going to be turning the wipers up a little bit. I apologize, it's raining here. We're going to be making a right here onto Matterhorn, which is a dead-end cul-de-sac. Matterhorn Drive. It's the first street that you get to whenever you're entering into Alpine Village. And in the background there you can see Abers Creek Road. From what I understand, these were the original houses that were built, was along here and going up Alpine Village Drive. There's pictures of my mom, which grew up on Abers Creek. In her backyard, you can actually see these houses under construction in the background. I want to say in the 50s that was, when she was still a baby or a small child. We're going to be making a right back onto Alpine Village Drive. Make sure nobody's coming here. Be heading up the hill. Remember, as a child, I always dreaded this part whenever I go for a bike ride. I want to say they put the Sunoco in 94, 95. Between 94 and 1996, they put in the Sunoco station. There was a lot of controversy about that. A lot of people petitioned against that and really didn't want that in our plan, at their end of our plan. My guess is the gas station might have lowered value of the homes. I don't know. I can't remember. I was, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old at the time. So we're going to be making a left here onto Alta View. This guy's gonna stop, that's good. And here we are on Alta View. This is one of the sort of horseshoe roads that reconnect back onto Alpine Village Drive again. This is also one of the direct ways to the Alpine Village Park, which you'll be seeing here in a few minutes. And straight ahead is the Alpine Village Park. Do a quick little pull in here for you. There's the park. Just do a quick turn around here. Right here, which to the right of this trailer that you see here, the camper, I'll back up a little bit. This is the entrance to the famous hill everybody likes to sled ride down on, play on in the winter there. I don't know if you can see the chains right in the middle of your screen there at the end of the picture there, at the end of the asphalt. That's where the Alpine Village Park, that's long grass hill that goes pretty steep up the hill. Growing up, and kids used to sled ride on that. This also used to be a trailer right here, which was, I think it burned down, but the trailer was like a trailer park home. It was here to keep an eye on the park. They were in charge of making sure it was locked up at night and keeping it safe and everything, but that burned down quite a long time ago, so I don't know whatever happened about that. I'm assuming these folks here might be in charge now of it, I'm not sure. Alright, now we are on Luzerne, which is part of the horseshoe. You can see a lot of the trees are budding through finally. Had a little bit of a tease this spring, and then it kind of went away for a while there. We're going to be making a left here. This is called Fulton Drive, O-L-T-E-N. This is the first left you can make off of Luzerne if you're going down the hill. Another dead-end cul-de-sac. A lot of nice houses. People really take care of their places up here. I spent majority of my life here. I moved into Alpine Village when I was just shy of turning 8 years old. I think I want to say, oh boy, I'm trying to remember. I want to say I was about exactly a half a month away from turning 8 years old when I moved into Alpine Village. I originally lived up above the mall on James Street, and we're going to make a right here onto Interlaken Drive. Don't have too many memories of Interlaken. It's kind of one of those forgotten streets for some reason, but the only thing I really recall as a child with Interlaken is trick-or-treating up here as a kid. That's really the only memories I have of it. Last time I made one of these videos, it was a nice summer day, nice and warm out. Right now it's April. I want to say today's April 26, 2020, if I were to take a stab in the dark on what today is. It's funny how when you're not at work, you don't think about what day of the week or what the date is anymore. Alright, actually we're going to make a right onto Alpine Village Drive. Let's see if I can get around here without hitting this giant ditch, which I did anyway. So, way up there at the end of the road there where the peak is, that's the stop sign. That's where we made a left earlier to go on to Altaview, but we're going to make a left here. This is St. Moritz Drive, which is also a cul-de-sac. Another street that I really don't have anything to say about as far as growing up, as far as playing outside or anything. Just once again, just remember trick-or-treating. Now we're going to make a right and go back the direction we just came up from, back onto Alpine Village Drive. First moved in here back in 91. They had been doing a lot of construction here into 91 through 93-ish. As far as digging this up and doing the sewer lines across here. I just remember as a kid having to drive around the holes in the ground when they had it opened up to do the sewers there. Really like this blue house here. I don't know if it's going to show up on the right. It's a two-story. I believe all these houses were originally one story and they were added on. This is Dolomite here. We'll go ahead and make the right on Dolomite, and then we'll make one big circle here. Dolomite's actually my street that I currently live on here in Alpine Village. And we're going to go ahead and make a right onto Cortina. A lot of my mail gets delivered sometimes up here on Cortina. Same address number as my house, except it's off of Dolomite, and occasionally we'll get packages from them, and they'll get packages from us. Old friends of ours, so we know them, so it's not a big deal. Whee! We're going to go make a right back onto Dolomite and continue down. I'm trying to think of the best approach for this. Alright, we are approaching the end of Dolomite. We're going to go ahead into the cul-de-sac at the end of the road here. Actually live in this cul-de-sac. Alright, now we're facing the opposite direction on Dolomite. Now, this is Cabot Road right here that Dolomite crosses over. Now, we're going to make a right, because if we make the right up Cabot Road, it actually reconnects to Alpine Village Drive. Makes a big circle here. It's good for exercise, too, if you like to, we just walk around the block. It's the only road, I want to say back in 05, 06-ish, 2005, 2006, they paved most of the roads in Alpine. Some of them they've had to do again because they've had to replace and install water lines. It's the only road they never paved was this section of Cabot, which honestly was, in my opinion, one of the roads that needed it the most. Alright, so we're back on Alpine Village Drive. Now, if we hang a right, that takes you out the back road of Cabot Road, which takes you into Monroeville. We'll do that here in a little bit. First, we're going to make a left back here onto Alpine Village Drive. Now, this is the famous park entrance here on your right after that green mailbox is the fences. If you take that path, that takes you right into Alpine Park. Alpine Village Park. A lot of people probably remember as kids either walking or riding up and down that as a child to get into the park. It's always fun riding your bike down it too. So we're going to make a U-ey here. This is back at the top of Dolomite where we originally made the right-hand turn onto Dolomite. We're going to make this U-ey here, and we're going to go back. I'm going to take you out Cabot, the back road, and then we'll finish the rest of the lower half of Alpine, which takes you down onto Tyrolia. But we're going to continue on Alpine Village Drive. Alpine Village Drive extends from the very beginning at the gas station where we started the speedway and extends the whole way through the plant. It's the main artery that gets you to all the tributaries. I remember as a kid playing in the woods down here. The famous rock down here to our right, a giant boulder that I guess kids used to hang out or party at. I'm sure a lot of you guys that were older than me that would remember back. To my direct left is the tennis court and the basketball court for the Alpine Village Park. There's one tree here on your right that sticks out of the guardrail. It's one of the trees I guess they decided to save and not cut down, so they put the guardrail around it. I always thought that was neat. I won't name the person's name, but there is a, I guess you would say, famous person in the advertising business that lives on this road, which I always thought was kind of neat. Went to school with that person's son. I would say he graduated, oh boy, I would say he graduated a couple years, either a year before or 2 years before me. I want to say a year before me. This used to be mostly just farm up here, and a lot of these houses are new. I always loved this house right here. We just went past a brick house, and then there's this house which you probably can't see, but there's a house directly to my right. It looks like a log cabin. It's really cool. Do my weight loss program, I used to walk this street. It's an excellent street to walk if you're trying to lose weight, especially in the summer. It'll make sure you bring water. We're going to make a quick right here on Scarlet View, which is, I guess you would consider this Alpine Village still. I mean, I guess it all depends on how you look at it. These are like townhouses back here that they built. Somebody could put in the comments when they built them, because I don't honestly remember. I know they're not super old, but I know they've been around for a while now. Looks like nice townhouses. I always thought this would have been a nicer street if they actually put homes on it. I wouldn't mind living up on this little street if they had actual homes. Not much of a townhouse person. I'd rather have my own foundation, my own home. Continue up Scarlet here. We're going to make a right back onto Cabot. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and go back up Cabot here. This is here at the end of Cabot. This is Asbury Court, which, like I said, used to be all, I want to say this was the Haberstroh farm here. I know we used to buy pumpkins as a kid from the Haberstrohs. I always like walking up this street here. Walking by, I call this the rich people street. When I was on my weight loss program, I'd walk all the way around this street and back down. It always made me feel better. I always wish I could have one of these houses up here. Absolutely gorgeous houses. Problem is, though, I'd get tired of cleaning them all the time. Kind of a cleaning freak, so keeping up on the dusting and everything. don't know much about these folks up here. Like I said, they're so distant away from the actual main plan that, you know, I don't really have any background stories, nor do I know anybody from up here. Back in, let's say, junior high, we used to pick up a few kids here on the bus. I don't even remember their names. I don't know whatever even happened to them. So we'll go down to the end here. Might as well, since we're already this far, and we'll take you back down Cabot, since the camera is kind of rigged up here to the dashboard. It's not got the greatest viewpoint, so we'll go the other direction. Might see something a little different. This is straight ahead is the Enterprise car sales and car rental. For a while there, it was an Infiniti dealership for Cochran. I guess they weren't doing good, so they moved probably to the South Hills. But this is Byrider, which was JD Byrider, but for some reason they changed their name. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just make a little turnaround here. Try not to bang the camera off the windshield too much here. Okay. Alright, we'll go. This is the other entrance to Alpine Village, the one that comes from Monroeville, or the Monroeville end of it. It's technically still Monroeville. Tulips sticking out of the ground there. I just wish it would warm up with everything going on in the world right now. Can't really, for some reason, you can't really necessarily talk about it on YouTube, which I don't understand why. Somebody told me that, and I've noticed that a lot of other YouTube channels that I watch, they also mention the current events in the world, but they don't actually say it by name, so maybe somebody could comment about that too, what that's all about. So I figured, well, I'll just stick with it and just keep talking about what's going on in the world, which is very unfortunate. Never thought I'd experience that in my lifetime. At least not yet. A lot of the homes, actually the houses to our left, which you probably can't see real well, those are all the newer homes, and this really nice log cabin and stuff that guy built. Used to know someone that lived in the house to our right. I don't know if his parents still live there or not. Went to school with him. Graduated the same year. Got some guys out here working on their driveway. This road here always gets pretty rough. It's with all the moisture and the shade that's back here and the runoff, the road, asphalt doesn't usually last very long. It wasn't paved too long ago, probably within the last, I don't know, I'd say within the last 8-9 years maybe, if I were to take a stab in the dark. Alright, we're back here. We're gonna make a left on the other half of Cabot. I believe the Cabot that we just departed is spelt differently, I believe, than this Cabot. I could be wrong. I think it only has one T in it, but I'm sure somebody out there can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Back on my side of the road. And like I said, this is that one section of Cabot, for whatever reason, they never paved, and it, honestly, as you can tell from the camera bouncing around, really could have used it. This is crossing over Dolomite again, my street. Back down here again. Down Cabot.
Famous Abers Creek on our right. And we are on Tyrolia Drive. We're going to go ahead and make a left here. Straight ahead off in the distance is the old railroad track. It's now a rails to trail. I believe it's the Westmoreland County Nature Trail. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I probably am. I call everything by the wrong name. So we're on Tyrolia now. Another dead-end cul-de-sac. This road runs below Dolomite. Make a turn around here. At the end of Alpine Village, the lower end of it, the back entrance to the plan is what I consider it, or one of the back entrances. Go over this famous bridge we used to play on as a kid. It crosses over Abers Creek. Try to miss all the potholes that are always on it. To our left is the Valley Park here on Abers Creek, still leaving Cabot Road. Let's see, it says I have 18 minutes of battery, so we'll see if we have enough time here. I didn't charge this up all the way, this camera. It's an old battery, so we'll go around Abers Creek here, around Valley Park. Straight ahead, we're going to be going through a tunnel, which the little tunnel we go through is actually the turnpike that's over top of us. To our direct right, way up on top of the hill, is Turnpike Gardens. Boy, it's really coming down now. Alright, now we're going through this tunnel. Okay. And here's the famous Bel Air Pool, which is the entrance to it here. Bel Air Pool is going to be closed up, or I believe it is closed officially now. They're going to be expanding the turnpike here. So unfortunately, they're going to be not reopening because they're going to be expanding the turnpike, which is really a shame. This is the Bel Air Pool. Went there a few times as a kid. Not too many times. I remember going swimming here. Our direct right is the turnpike, which, like I said, they're going to be expanding, so that's going to be getting rid of Bel Air Pool, unfortunately. Alright, now we're going to try to see if this will get us to the other end of Abers Creek before this battery chokes out on us. It'd be nice if it did. It's another road I wish they would repave. This section here is not so bad, but a little bit on the right where they put in new water lines several years ago. It's kind of bumpy. And our Valley Park is on our right again. Going back into Alpine, which is by just continuing straight or bearing to the right at the fork. And this is the famous wishing well on our right here.
recently had a tree hit it, and they rebuilt it because it's sort of a landmark, I guess. So, on the other half of Avers Creek, which takes us out to Northern Pike, the road my mom grew up on. A lot of history down here. Straight ahead, or well, let me rephrase that. To my direct left is the famous Waterfall, which is the runoff that comes off from Turnpike Gardens by Mr. Anthony's old house. Looks like a big castle. Directly to our right is Avers Creek. This section of the road here, back in July of 2019, it flooded out really bad. This whole section actually broke telephone poles, did a lot of damage. I have the stop sign here because part of the roadway, I think, once again, in June of 2019, I'm going to say some of the roadway here, I'll turn so you can see better, a lot of the roadway actually slid over the hill here around this corner into the creek. We're supposed to fix it, but there's some kind of issue where they haven't been able to fix it yet. It's, I guess, something with permits or rights, or I don't know, something with the waterway. They can't do it. I don't know. This is the temple up here on your left entrance, and a few seconds here you're going to see my grandparents' house, which they're no longer with us, but it's the house my mom had grew up in right here. That's my grandma's house there. I have a lot of memories playing here in the yard. This is the bridge that got pretty damaged here. I can't really see it, but there's an old bridge that was a driveway bridge there that used to be there, but it got pretty damaged from that flood we had back July of 2019. Half of it's actually gone. They're working on Northern Pike right now. I think they're re-supporting the hillside. Technically this road's closed right now, but well, you know, doesn't stop me. Make a U-turn here. This is the end of Avers Creek where it meets Northern Pike. Here, I'll see if I can get this in. This will be some interesting stuff to see. Ain't that something, huh? Yeah, they're re-supporting the hillside there. That's definitely something to see growing up here. The only thing I thought was kind of dumb was how they cut down all the trees. Last I checked, trees help support the hill, but I'm no expert or anything, but yeah, it's definitely something to look at there. If any of you guys grew up in the area, this will really throw you there. That's Northern Pike, right at the end of Avers Creek. So we're going to go ahead and turn back onto Avers Creek Road here. And that, folks, is the end of our journey. I hope you enjoyed watching, and hope somebody finds this enjoyable. I figured those folks out there that don't live in Alpine Village anymore, or just need something to watch because we're all in quarantine right now, so give you something to do. So I hope you enjoyed. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed.